everyone, welcome to back my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The fallout from the wedding continues amongst the guests, and Sienna and Vicky clash. Frankie suggests to Vicky that she talk to a counselor and makes her promise not to keep secrets from her again. Sienna is acting oddly. Maxine finds a Christmas video of Ethan filming Sienna crafting, and in a flashback, we see a part of the missing year, revealing a lot about their relationship. Later, Vicky tries to patch things up with Robbie, but he's not interested. The sound of wedding bells echo through the village as Sienna Blake's long-anticipated wedding day arrived. But as with anything in Sienna's life, it wasn't destined to be a smooth affair. Beneath the glamorous facade of the ceremony lay secrets, betrayals, and a ticking time bomb of emotions waiting to explode. The calm before the storm. Sienna was a vision in her intricately detailed gown, a shimmering creation that seemed almost ethereal. Her best friend, Stay, stood by her side as she took a deep breath in the church's bridal suite. "Are you ready to be Mrs. Whoever he is today?" Stee teased, earning a laugh from Sienna. Though her smile faltered, "I'm ready for this to be perfect," she replied, her voice softer than usual. Outside, the guests mingled. Ethan Williams, juggling both his romantic woes and his involvement in Sienna's complicated life, kept glancing nervously over his shoulder. Warren Fox, Sienna's ever-present shadow, looked unusually dapper in a tailored suit, but the tension radiating off him was palpable. A love triangle unravels. The ceremony began without a hitch, and the guests gasped as Sienna walked down the aisle. Her fiancé, Edward "Eddie" Thorpe, a charismatic newcomer to the village, beamed at her with a charm that masked his secrets. But standing among the pews was someone who didn't share the couple's joy, Warren. As the officiant began the vows, Warren's jaw tightened. He'd been warned not to cause trouble, but his feelings for Sienna were too raw, too unrelenting to ignore. When the officiant asked if anyone had objections, Warren hesitated, but kept silent. It wasn't until the couple exchanged rings that Warren made his move. "I can't do this," he muttered to himself, then stood abruptly. "I need to say something," he announced, stopping the ceremony dead in its tracks. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sienna froze, her eyes wide with a mix of anger and dread. "Warren, don't." Ignoring her warning, Warren strode to the altar. "You can't marry him, Sienna, not when you know this isn't right. Not when we both know what we had, what we still have." Secrets spilled. The room descended into chaos. Eddie, visibly stunned, turned to Sienna. "Is this true? Is there something going on between you two?" Sienna's composure cracked. "It's complicated," she stammered, glancing between Eddie and Warren. "That's not an answer," Eddie snapped, his voice rising. But before Sienna could respond, another voice broke through the din. This time, it was Grace Black. "If we're airing dirty laundry, let's do it properly," she declared, sauntering up the aisle with her signature smirk. "What are you doing here, Grace?" Sienna hissed. "Oh, I wouldn't miss this for the world," Grace purred, pulling out her phone. "Especially when I got this." She tapped the screen, and a video began to play on the projector meant for wedding slides. It showed Sienna and Eddie in a heated argument, with Sienna shouting, "I don't even know if I love you anymore." The room erupted. Guests whispered furiously, while Sienna's face drained of color. A sudden escape. Before anyone could process what was happening, an uninvited guest arrived, Felix Westwood. He burst into the church, visibly distressed. "We need to get out of here," he shouted. "Felix, what are you talking about?" Martine demanded, hurrying to his side. "There's something going on, outside," Felix said, glancing over his shoulder. "Something bad." His warning was interrupted by a loud bang. The sound of car tires screeching filled the air, and moments later, masked figures burst into the church, wielding weapons. "This is a robbery," one of them barked, their voice distorted by a voice modulator. The guests screamed, scattering in every direction. Sienna instinctively grabbed her children, Sophie and Sebastian, and pulled them close. Warren immediately went into protective mode, positioning himself in front of Sienna and the kids. A dangerous standoff. As the masked intruders demanded everyone's valuables, tensions skyrocketed. One of them approached Sienna, eyeing her engagement ring. "Take it off," the intruder ordered. Sienna hesitated, her hands trembling. Warren stepped forward. "Don't touch her," he growled. "Warren, don't," Sienna pleaded, but it was too late. Warren lunged at the intruder, sparking a violent altercation. The room descended into chaos once more as guests screamed and tried to flee. Meanwhile, Stay and James Nightingale worked together to discreetly call for help. The truth comes out. Amid the pandemonium, Eddie took advantage of the distraction to confront Sienna. "You used me, didn't you?" he accused, his voice low but full of fury. Sienna looked at him, guilt etched across her face. "I didn't mean for it to happen like this," she admitted. Eddie shook his head, his expression a mix of heartbreak and rage. "You never loved me. You just needed someone to make Warren jealous." Before Sienna could respond, one of the intruders grabbed Eddie and held him at gunpoint. "Everyone, shut up," the leader barked. A heroic sacrifice. The situation took a deadly turn when one of the intruders turned their weapon toward Sienna. Without hesitation, Warren stepped in front of her, taking the bullet meant for her. The room froze as Warren collapsed to the ground, blood pooling beneath him. "No," Sienna screamed, dropping to her knees beside him. The sight of Warren bleeding out seemed to shake the intruders. They fled the scene, leaving chaos in their wake. Aftermath. The wedding-turned nightmare left the village reeling. Warren was rushed to the hospital, clinging to life. As Sienna sat by his bedside, the weight of her choices finally hit her. Eddie, heartbroken and betrayed, packed his bags and left the village without a word. Grace, meanwhile, reveled in the drama she caused, though even she seemed shaken by the violence that had unfolded. In the days that followed, the village struggled to return to normal. But for Sienna, nothing would ever be the same. The man she thought she could leave behind had once again proven he was willing to risk everything for her, even his life. What's next? As Warren fights to recover, Sienna faces an impossible decision. Will she finally admit that her heart has always belonged to him, or will she walk away from the chaos for good? Meanwhile, the identity of the masked intruders remains a mystery, but their attack may have been more personal than anyone realizes. One thing's for sure, Sienna's wedding day will go down in Hollyoaks history as one of the most dramatic events the village has ever seen. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe our Hollyoaks Update YouTube channel for more update news.